Hello,
Hello.
good morning. Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Welcome to an exciting journey which we have today, where effort meets passion and purpose drives outcomes. This is a theme that resonates with every achiever out there. We all know that we are doing daily, weekly efforts, and these efforts are fueled by our purpose, by our passion, and the outcomes we cherish because they are the fruits of our consistent and purposeful activities.
Exactly.
So think for a second about Thomas Edison, right? Because he's one of the greatest inventors, and he famously said, "I have not failed. I have just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Right? And
That's beautiful.
this is so funny because actually this is an illustration of his relentless pursuit of achieving an outcome. And his outcome, actually, it was the groundbreaking for so many other innovations. And this was something like a breakthrough, right?
Yeah, but before that outcome, he made a lot of effort, right, to arrive to that outcome.
Exactly. So 10,000 times he failed. So
Yeah.
he had 10,000 ways and understanding what is not working in order to make it work. So this is resilience on one hand, but also, but also that kind of focus on your purpose driven by your passion, right? He was passionate about his innovation. He wanted to deliver the world something which was a breakthrough, right?
Exactly.
Another example, I would say, is the example of the famous Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling. Because, I don't know how many of our visionaries, they know the story of Harry Potter, and actually not the story of the book. Definitely they know the story of Harry Potter because I believe
Yes, but not how it was born, right?
Exactly. So J.K. Rowling faced numerous rejections before Harry Potter. I think if I recall correctly, there is so much information out there. She has been rejected more than 15 times, right?
And how much effort she did, right, to write all those stories in a napkin.
Exactly, and
that's incredible.
And maybe what people they don't know is that she wrote much of her first book under significant personal hardship, right? So her personal circumstances were very tough. Having this kind of rejection over and over again, that did not decrease her pursuit and consistency of actions for the outcome, because her outcome was to publish an amazing book which was about to become one of the very famous movies even for our generation, right?
Yeah, exactly. I love them.
Yes. So the reason why I brought up Thomas Edison and J.K. Rowling is just to have an illustration of how consistent actions, resilience, being persistent in following your purpose with passion actually is going to drive ultimately to the outcome which you envision, right?
Exactly.
So shall we take the story back home a bit? Let's have a story related to our personal experience, right?
Yeah, because at the end, that's why we are here, right? To talk about our stories. So what do you have in mind?
When I was 30, I set a very clear purpose to myself. And that purpose was defined as to achieve an executive position in a large, well-known corporation by the age of 45.
Wow.
Yes.
You were like very clear on what you wanted, right?
Exactly. And to retire from corporate life by 55 to follow my
That's amazing.
Okay. Now, I poured my passion into everything work related because, first of all, I loved our customers and the mission and the vision and the company. I believed in that. And I also knew that every process and product detail, which I was driving together with my team, will enhance the customer experience and is going to create long-term value, right?
Mm-hmm.
This meant adopting all the time new technologies, innovation, constantly reinventing my work methods, improving my leadership. I was studying every 2-3 years, I was taking another course, right? I decided to move to different countries, 7 in total. And that also demanded a significant effort and versatility and courage, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the reason of all this uptaking, difficult projects, moving around, taking the leadership of various things, actually, that was that kind of effort which ultimately led to the achievement of my first objective, because by the age of 42, I was becoming that executive, right?
Wow. Even before time, because you said 45.
Yes, even before.
Even before time, you could achieve it.
Time, indeed, right?
Wow.
What I realized, so when I realized at that age that actually it took me a little bit, less than 15 years to really get to my first objective, I realized that all these efforts brought me closer to my goals. People are saying, oh, you've been lucky. You've been lucky that you achieved that.
Yeah.
You've been lucky that, you got that job.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it's not luck.
It's not luck.
Exactly. It's rather the peak, right, of consistent and courageous decisions, driven by confidence and believing in the trajectory which I decided for myself, right? So
Exactly.
when we are thinking like, let's be lucky to achieve something, I think instead of thinking like this, we should be thinking, what are kind of the consistent efforts which we are not doing? We are not just jumping. We are doing today something and we are doing something else 1 month down the road.
Exactly.
What are those kind of consistent efforts and actions, decisions we need to make, moves and changes we need to decide and take it as a risk in order to get closer to the outcome which we envision?
It happens frequently, when I listen to you, I have many examples on my mind of things like this, that people say, you're lucky, look at the life you have. Yeah, but behind that, there was so much effort. There were so many decisions and hard decisions to take, that
Absolutely.
You need to choose, you need to prioritize, and sometimes you need to leave aside many things that you would like to do, but because you have an objective and a purpose, and that if you don't follow and you don't make that effort, you're not going to achieve that.
Yeah.
So I have many examples on my head as you talk.
So either you have an aspiration like the North Star, either you have a very strong purpose. You really need to be very objective regarding your strengths, your weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. I'm calling this the SWOT analysis.
Okay.
And just to give you the example, the way how my mind was thinking during that period, keeping in mind my aspiration, right, was what are the strengths, meaning the skills, the things which I know, which I'm having, which can contribute to me performing the actions or performing the changes or taking up a challenge, right, to help me go through it. What are the weaknesses, meaning the gaps which I'm having, and I really need to find support and help somewhere else. Maybe to brush up my knowledge, maybe to get a mentor, maybe to talk to people going through the same experience in order to accumulate the knowledge helping me to fill in that gap, that weakness, right? Usually strengths and weaknesses, they are in your control and they belong to you. This is something which you can control. While opportunities and threats, they are coming from the external factors, right? And here is the beauty when you have such a big aspiration, right? The self-awareness and the awareness in general needs to really be high up, because opportunities are coming very quickly, but are leaving very quickly as well.
Exactly. You need to take them.
You know that saying that you've been the right person in the right moment, in the right timing, right? That kind of triangle, time, opportunity, you being there, you being present, because you can be there, but if you are not present to listen to the conversation, to pay attention, right?
Yeah, it's going to slip away.
It's just going to slip away. So opportunities are those kind of situations where you have to take a decision, right? So for example, the opportunity to move in another country, that's a decision which you are making. The opportunity is there, but the decision comes with risk, with pros and cons, right? So the threats, they are also the risks which you might face. The threat of, like, you know, really being away from your family for so long that you might lose friends in the process because you cannot keep up with the relationships, right?
You have to start like from zero.
Exactly.
You don't know.
Exactly.
Maybe with another language.
Exactly. So having this SWOT analysis, everyone can, like, you know, watch it on YouTube. You can just Google SWOT and you have an entire explanation. If you start applying, you know, on the big decisions or big milestones, that's a very effective tool. So my story comes to an end because yes, I did become that executive, and yes, I am retired before the time.
And even before the time you program.
Exactly.
So that's amazing.
Yeah.
You're like a proof, a live proof that effort takes you to your outcome, right? And
Absolutely.
Even before time, if you just laser focus.
So that was my story, and also sharing some of my favorite tools for assessment. What else we can share with our versus visionaries, Vicky?
Well, on my side, I'm very disciplined and responsible on what I focus on. You know, I always put some goals, but feasible goals, like feasible goals, maybe small goals that you can start like doing right now.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when we put like a long-lasting goal, we get lost and maybe we get frustrated. So what works for me is like to start like with a checklist. Okay, I'm going to do this for next month, in 2 months, in 6 months, I want to achieve this. And I make a checklist with priority items, and then I start like checking everything I do, and setting myself a time for each task. And in general, I do and I accomplish everything I want. That's why some examples came to my mind when you say, you're lucky. No, you're not lucky. You are just putting effort, right? For example, last month I received like a comment saying, how do you do to manifest everything you want? You're lucky. And I was like, no, I just focus on what I want, and I just put my body to work on it. I have to prioritize things. Maybe I don't do other things that I would love to do. Like, for example, now being on the beach, getting suntan and beautiful, but I just focus and do my work. So that's effort that takes us to the outcome.
Yeah.
So I use this checklist and I focus on things that I know that I can accomplish to see myself like evolving and reaching to that. And then of course, but I was not like you. This is our versus difference, that I didn't picture myself from on my 30s to the 55. So that is interesting. I can use it now, you know.
I want to comment on something which you said, and I really like talking about goals. And you know that saying that you eat the elephant one piece at a time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And indeed, one of the things which I've seen in my professional life is that when you have a big project, something, you know, significant and with a significant complexity, people, they start, you know, doing, you know, everything and, you know, picking up on this kind of like very big 6 weeks, 6 months kind of like activities, right? While what you said, like, break down everything in small pieces. And let's make sure, I think it's important to make sure that you have almost daily, weekly achievements and progress.
Exactly.
It's much more important than sit on a piece of activity or a goal for, like, let's say like 6 months, because that is going to get to give a lot of frustration, because you're gonna see that things are not moving, right? That's going to say, what I'm doing here, nothing is moving. And to keep the motivation up, the method is break down the work in small achievable goals.
Exactly.
Make your goals SMART, right? Specific, measurable, achievable, relatable, and put some time, right? And with these two activities, I think everyone will have the opportunity to really embrace the success coming from small, simple goals, and see how the progress is like piling up to their aspirations.
Or even they can have the opportunity to realign if it is not working. Because imagine that you have a goal for 6 months and you wait for 6 months to check on that a goal or that achievement, and you realize that it was not what you expected.
Exactly.
You lost like 6 months, you know.
Yes.
But if you check it every week, and every week you put like an objective and you go and accomplish it, then you have more time to see if it's working, if I need to change everything, I have to make some adjustment.
Course
and
correction.
You can save time at the end.
Yeah, making course correction based on the facts in hand, things which you know, but also understanding if you are going too far from where you want to go. That's again very important, but that comes because of the small, simple steps.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Excellent.
Let's go from to the toolbox from the sky. Yes.
Toolbox. Okay, the toolbox from the sky.
The toolbox from the sky this week says, embrace the journey, not just the destination.
That's important. Okay.
Yes. Because this week we are going to have Mercury that is going to start retrograding. You know, retrograding means that it is like a visual effect. It's like from the Earth, we're going to see that Mercury is going backwards.
Oh, okay.
That's not possible, of course. That's why it's just a visual effect. But what means is that the planet is slowing down. Okay, so in astrology we said that it's going to retrograde, it's going to go backwards and to revise. So this is an opportunity to stop, to go inward and start like analyzing. In fact, we have the 3R: reflect, revise, and reconnect with yourself. This happens every 3-4 months. It's a critical period. Many people don't like Mercury retrograde because during that time we have a lot of problems with connections, with communication. I say something, the other people understand something else. Or my phone goes to the toilet without noticing it. Or the internet is falling all the time. Why is this? Because Mercury invites us to enhance the connection inside of us. This is a period to stop listening so much outside, focusing so much outside, and start analyzing our own path. So this is a perfect time to go and review those efforts, those goals, the objectives I'm going to set to myself, and enjoy this period. Not seeing it like, oh my God, I can communicate with exterior, but take advantage. As we said before, instead of waiting for 6 months to see how the project went, I can do it now. I can make the adjustments now, focus on what I would like to improve, realign, and then when Mercury starts in its direct motion, I can start going outside again. But this is going to be a very useful period if we want to take advantage of it, to focus on that reflection, revising, and reconnecting with ourselves.
Reflection, revising, and reconnecting. So versus visionaries, Mercury is retrograde, so now we know where to pay attention. And I think all this, reflection, revision, reconnecting with others, reconnecting with ourselves, it's also the kind of effort which is going to pay off, and we are going to bring us closer to any outcome we envision, right?
Exactly.
I think it's that kind of very personal effort, on our side, outside of any kind of key milestones, which we should embrace it, because this is something which is going to give us energy and is going to bring the resources which we need around us.
Exactly. Because even the nature has this time, winter is a time to go inward and get the strength, put everything in order, and then be ready for spring and start flourishing again, right?
Yeah.
So Mercury is going to give us this opportunity, and it gives us every 3-4 months.
What are the first steps you will take to align your efforts with your purpose? Comment on YouTube, like us, dislike us, subscribe.
Or even share the video, because maybe there is someone that may need this information.
So until next Saturday,
see you, and keep harmonizing your contrasts.
Keep harmonizing contrast. Ciao, Vicky.
See you next Saturday.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello. Good morning, my friend. How are you this Saturday?
Jonas, how are you doing, my friend?
Hello, I'm doing really, really good. Yeah, thank you for this invitation. Yeah, at your place. Yeah, I'm so honored. Thank you. I'm doing good.
So versus visionaries, today we have the pleasure to have our first guest. And we are very grateful to Jonas to take up with us a very interesting topic. It's about women versus men. You see that how I put women first, right? And
we noticed it.
We really want to hear from you, your story, what kind of recent experiences you had, and who is Jonas?
Who is Jonas?
Yeah.
Who's Jonas? Okay, yeah. Jonas was born in Spain, raised in Costa Rica and Central America, and then for the last 10 years, I've been traveling around. And who's Jonas and why I'm here is because I run a podcast And then Vicky was my guest, and then here I am. And I'm so excited actually to speak about women versus men, or completely this topic, because for me it's been a challenge in life to give support to men and to receive support from women, and this is a little bit me, yeah.
So this is very very fascinating, because we often hear around us, and Vicky and I, we were just like counting how many women's circle we've seen on Facebook, on Instagram, on different social media, and maybe because we didn't search for it, I never stumbled yet on a men's circle. Mm-hmm. And this sounds very interesting for me as a woman to understand what is behind the men's circle and what brought you to the idea to open up a men's circle.
Mm-hmm. Well, the idea, the thing it brought to me to open a men's circle, it was when I was a year and a half before in a ceremony, in an indigenous ceremony in Costa Rica. It's called the moon dance. Mm-hmm. It's women dancing to the moon for 4 days fasting. So I was supporting them, preparing the teas. And suddenly in a conversation, I spoke with another man who was running circles, men's circles, and he was making me a click inside me. I'm supporting women in this beautiful place, and why I cannot hold a space for men. And then suddenly I just come back to Europe, to Denmark, where I was living at that point, and I just like follow my goat and my instinct. And what is a man's circle? It's just, to keep it simple, it's just a safe space to speak about worries, things, what we have as human beings. We have the same, men, women, we are human beings, and we have all kind of things we go through in different stages of life. So for me, it's a safe space to speak without any kind of a judgment. Yeah. This is what is a man's circle.
Wow.
I would like to be a fly on the wall in men's circles. Don't you want to do that, Vicky?
Yes.
To be a fly on the wall.
Can we be invited?
Listen to all that conversations.
We can prepare the tea.
Right.
But Jonas, for sure for you was a bit of transformation you went through even before opening the men's circle. Can you talk to us a bit your transformation and what kind of power you get from being in men's circle? What is the energy there, and what kind of things you bring back into the world from the men's circle? Mm-hmm. Maybe there are 3 questions in one, but let's start with the transformation, your transformation journey.
Yeah, let's say it like this, that I've been kind of changing places during all my life, so it's always been a transformation for me, and the power to adapt, I think it's a strength I have. Okay, so the thing is that when you change the place, country, place, your safe zone, you have to adapt. So it's another way of thinking, eating, and it's what it brings strength in you inside. Transformation, I would say it was coming 3-4 years ago. In different journeys, different travelings, and in the inside it was kind of to be honest with you, it's what life was bringing to me. I was not calling for this, it was calling my door, and I was just listening to the invitations the people was doing to me, and I was accepting them as my God was calling me at the same time. And let's say it was 3-4 years ago in a journey, in a traveling I was doing in Costa Rica. It was connecting with my own childhood as well, because I was raised in Costa Rica. So when I was 30, 31, like 3-4 years ago. I was coming back after 15 years ago without being there, and I was connecting with my childhood and with beautiful people and connected people who were listening and yeah, let's say it was over there, and I think it's a call of listening to the things the world had to bring it to you to the table. Yeah, and to help, I will say like this.
And Jonas, may I ask you, because you mentioned this moon dance and all the women dancing, and that in there you were like contributing to this ceremony, right? And you were also with another man. You both were like participating there, helping them, supporting them.
Yeah.
May I ask you, what did you see there?
Well,
what was the energy that really inspired you apart from the conversation, right? Because you both were in that place.
Yeah. I will say not what I see, if not what I felt in that place.
Nice.
To see and to feel 80 women dancing to the moon.
Wow.
Like singing songs with the drums and with those white dresses. The energy was flowing around, you know, the temazcal, the fire, everything was floating. All the energies were like on the top of the skin. It was like completely, you can touch them, the energies, like all the women, it was like a really strong bond between all of them, you know. And we as a family and friends of the dancers, we were just supporting in there's like different categories. The tea support, the kitchen support, the fire support, the earth support. So there's like different places of helping those, because everything together is how it flows. Yeah. The 80 women, they were dancing to the moon dance. They cannot do it without the family and the friend support. So everything, it keeps a balance. So it was kind of, the last night, we had this conversation with this beautiful man who we're just like talking with another guy, and I was just getting inside the conversation. I really like it, and that was what it was changing my mind. Like that conversation kept inside me and makes me, okay, I'm here doing something beautiful. I just received like a gift, and what that man gives to me was just like a phrase. If you want to give something with love, just give it with love. The people is going to receive it. So yeah, I think that was the point. It was making myself like, okay, I'm supporting
like the inflection point.
Yeah, let's say like this. And yeah.
So I like what you said about that. It's not about what you've seen, but it's about what you felt. And can you elaborate a bit about what exactly you felt being surrounded by very powerful feminine energy, you coming with your masculine energy, how that felt for you?
Oof, I was feeling like small at some point, you know. I was feeling so small to see all that women dancing. For me, it was like no words. At some point, I remember my second date. Those 4 days, the women, they are fasting, okay? They don't eat nothing, they just drink water and tea. And you can see how they are aligning with everything, with the elements. I remember my second day over there, we were just having like the camping, the kitchen place, the dancing place. And at my second day, I was needing to have my own space because I was feeling like so tiny in that,
Too much energy.
Yeah.
Surrounded by that by that energy.
Yeah, by beautiful women just dancing over there, like all of them. And I remember the last night, all the kids were getting inside the circle. Oh my God, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So
yeah.
So you had this conversation with this gentleman, right? In a place with such a powerful feminine energy. And you decided to open up a men's circle, like a support circle for men. What are your key learnings in having this men's circle? And what are the things which actually you can share to us, like the women women representative in this call, that you find interesting, or even like, similar with some of our women practices or women energy?
Well, for me, it was a double. It's a double way. So I was facilitating that space, but at the same time I was receiving so much from that space. What I will say, the common things we have, women and men, I will say, is that we are human beings and we have feelings. We have good days and we have bad days. And I think the more powerful tool we have is the communication tool, the expression. If we express the things we are going through, it's going to be easy, the way to go through that problem or issue, okay? Because maybe if I have something I've been going through, a man in that man's circle, he was being in that problem issue before maybe, and he can say to me, okay, I was going through that same thing 3 years ago and I was dealing with this thing like this. It's just like respecting the space, the time, honoring to listen, to learn to listen as well.
Learn to listen. That's a good
Learn to listen. That's so important.
Yeah, because it's something we sometimes we lose in time. Man, woman, like in these times we don't have the time to stop and listen to ourselves and express our feelings and emotions to other people, and to listen to the other people, and to be in an empathetic way. So to be in the skin of the other person, to be honest with you. And for me, to be able in that space to be vulnerable, like to be able to open your heart through this channel of voice, and to be respected, like listen, supported, and that everything is gonna go through. Don't worry, like everything, So yeah,
I think all what you mentioned, Jonas, about vulnerability, respecting, listening with intent, and being empathic, supporting each other. These are our baselines. So
and even to be present, because how many times we are not present in that moment, that maybe someone wants to communicate or wants to say something, wants to be vulnerable, but at the same time we are not in that place. We are always thinking about what we have to do or what we didn't do, and we are not in that exact moment listening with this floating attention.
The present and the past and the future. I think this is another
versus.
Another versus.
Another versus.
The past and the future. That challenge.
Past versus future.
Keep now. Keep it in now.
I'm gonna take note of that. What is next for you?
When I was at the men's circle, I was running it for 2 months, so it was 8 sessions, and we were speaking about different topics. Like I was just like to finish to the men's circle and to keep going. The 8 sessions were about to speak with like personal topics, social topics, family topics, friend topics, job topics. So basically it's how we deal with time and with who, okay? And then after those 2 months, it was challenging for me, and to be honest with you,
always
we are among friends here.
Yeah, it was challenging because to be honest with you, I can say I was opening the men's circle because maybe in my journey when I was a kid, I was not supported from my father as maybe I wish or I was expected. So I was giving this to other men. And after that, I will say I was opening a podcast. It was called Hombres en Equilibrio. It's Men in Balance.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Nice.
So, but at the beginning, after, I don't know, 2-3 months running the podcast, Yeah, I was traveling to Peru, and then I was in a beautiful community in the Sacred Valley, and suddenly I was just over there in tables, cooking, speaking with people, and I was like, why I have to just close this channel of communication for men? Why I cannot just open it for women as well? You know, and the first thing it was coming to my mind, it was like, okay, I would love that these conversations, listen, like my mom, my sister, my brother, my close friends, and then like do it in a more expansive way. So that's why I was beginning my second step, my second journey, like interviewing people in the podcast, and it was changing the name to Somos Equilibrio. It's like to be balanced. So in that balance. And now it's been 9 months already running this podcast, and now it's gonna be my second season. Yeah, okay. Next Monday is gonna be opening my second season. So I'm just like so glad everything is like developing and changing, and yeah, it's been so beautiful to be able to listen what the things are bringing me to life is bringing me to the table, and to be able to communicate a little bit. To give light to the stories of the people, you know, that is what, for me, my story can make something and change your story, the other story. All the stories can bring light. And yeah, right now I'm doing this, and I'm feeling so happy, so glad. I'm like I don't know, I'm traveling a lot. Thank you for this podcast, and I'm just like, I'm gonna reopen another circle soon. I don't know where, because I'm moving a lot, but it's making me a call back again to give the service after 8-9 months without having a men's circle. So yeah.
Remember, we can serve the tea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
just give you a call.
How do you feel having this kind of full circle experience in your life? And because I believe that it's such a powerful experience for you, and through that, what are the 2-3 key things which you can share with our audience to take it with them?
Yeah, so I will say, like, to be able to be vulnerable and to open in the same gender, on the other gender, to search safe spaces. And for me, just to keep going through, to keep going. And it's not about to forget sometimes, okay? It's just about to speak it and just let it be. And because sometimes it's the way how we behave or adapt to things, the lives they come and show to our faces, to our reality. And for me, it's how we adapt and how we just live the things at the moment as they come, all right? And embrace it as they come. So to don't give it like too many rounds, okay? And for me,
too many thoughts.
Too many thoughts. And for me, something is like a really good thing is like when you have a safe space with safe people to speak, you leave the things behind. So then you can treat the people who show into your life in a good way. I don't have to treat you bad because a man treated me bad or a woman treated me bad. You're not that man, you're not that woman. So when we speak it, we heal it. So for me, the thing is just like to hold us together with love and to speak our things with people who can just accept and yeah, for me it's this, yeah.
I just love what you said about, to hold that space and to really intake everything coming towards you without crunching too much in your mind. Because we women, and I will speak about myself here,
Mm-hmm.
we have this tendency to really overthink. Mm-hmm. And ask 100 questions and maybe just losing the momentum. Mm-hmm. So what you are saying embrace that safe space which you are created in your relationship, with your friends, within your circle. Hold that space dear to your heart. Live the moment, be present. I like also what Victoria said, be present in the moment. Share and receive. I do believe in this balance between share and receive. And you're just gonna have a much more like happy life, and you're gonna be a very fulfilled person in your day, because that happiness, that energy, that support is going to show in your life like positive.
Yeah, completely agree. And yeah, to heal and to keep going, because we all have well, in this channel you have the this versus thing, and we all had in our past days like confrontations with other sex or the same like sex, but the thing is how we deal with it, right? And for me it's we all had it, and how we deal it, it's important for me, right? And yeah,
and the idea is to integrate, as you have done, right? You integrated the feminine energy with your masculine energy, and that's how you created this full circle, right? And you can share it because you were in both sides. So I think the idea is integration. And when conflicts arise, and what is the other one showing about myself, right? And what I need to integrate. So I think if we focus on what I can learn from that person or that relationship, and try to look for that in my life and try to integrate it, then as you said, I don't need later to treat anyone in a bad way, because I'm just learning and embracing it, and I'm integrating that in my life, and I can have healthier relationships.
And I think from what you are saying is that there are some, common denominators, right? When it comes to the main differences between men and women, right? And I'm just saying out loud right now, the need for the connection, the need for support, maybe the need for personal growth, they might be different. But when it comes to connecting and bringing people, different gender, in the same space, I think that you can really create much deeper connections, and you can really learn much, you can learn many things from a different perspective, because the men's perspective and women's perspective completing each other or complementing each other, it becomes this kind of very powerful learning curve, which is so important for each and every individual, right? Our differences in the way how we maybe listen, support, communicate, if we are aware about our differences, we are getting to be stronger together, embracing each other's perspectives.
Exactly. We can teach each other. If I don't know how to do one thing, maybe the other one knows how to do it, so we can teach and learn from each other, instead of like trying to divide all the time, right?
For me, it's an honor for me, to be here today speaking with you two, and yeah, it's something you can see in our daily lives. This kind of it's divided, okay? Woman and man is divided, but how it's, because woman, to be honest with you, it's growing like in another deep connection than men. Sometimes men is not connected maybe with that body and connection with emotions, and you as a woman, you have it. But the only thing we have in difference is our like sexuality, like, the body aspects, because the inside, I would say we are the same at the end. But I can see the men, they are doing their job today right now and trying to find their own space back again in this society, because you as women, you've been like fighting a lot during a lot of time for this equality, for this balance. And now men, they don't find their own space. I see it like this. So now I think you did a really nice job, and I really love that. So, and it's something you have to keep that balance. But I think right now men have to do their own job as well, and women as well. Okay, and to be honest with you, sometimes I can see, even though the extremely parts of feminism and then the other part, and you can see sometimes there's a line in love and hate, you know, between everything.
Yeah, I can see it.
And for me, if we do our own job, like woman with woman, men with men, then we can go together and relate happily. There's going to be some differences, but if we do our own jobs, like with our own genders, then together, it's like so pure and so beautiful. But we have, I think I can see it in society, we have to do our own job as a personal thing to then bring to the table good things.
Exactly. I agree with you.
I can listen to you forever.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like it's fascinating the way how you think and the way how you position all this relationship. And you mentioned a couple of resources. So if you are about to give our versus visionaries some tools, some resources on which they can take and use, what those resources will be? You mentioned meditation, you mentioned some of the things you might use.
Okay, well, for me, something it works so good. I've been practicing it like through almost like a year and something, and hopefully I will did it before. It's like why I didn't did it before, you know? So for me, it's just like to wake up every morning and take for yourself, I don't know, like 15-20 minutes just to drink your coffee or your tea and take a time to listen to yourself and write it in a notebook. Just like 1 page, 2 pages, and give you some time to wake up, you know? And every time you do it, it's kind of, even though it's kind of an addiction, when you write a little bit, you're connecting with your own needs and with your own purposes, and at the same time with your own watch, with your own daily routines and things and needs. And then you're not gonna get inside someone's routines or we need to go there. No, sorry, it's your need, it's not my need. So for me, it's my morning routine to have that coffee and writing a little bit. It makes my day like more aligned, and I know what I need to do in that day. Well, there are days and days. Sometimes like things are coming by. But then I can know like, okay, those are the needs, the things I need to do, and the things that I want to do as well, to listen to what I want to do. And for me, this is something hopefully I discovered before, and yeah, I will say this is my love tool for all the people who's listening right now. Yeah.
Do you go back to read what you wrote a couple of weeks or couple of days back? Do you do that?
Yeah. Not that often, but sometimes when, it's just a call. It's just a call. Okay, I'm gonna take a look in this at that time, you know, at these dates, what I was doing, and it's interesting. Then you can see yourself, and then it's something good for even though your brain, I think, because then I don't know, you have like the dates so much. I don't know. You remember more the things. I will say it like this. Okay, I remember, I don't know, 7th of January or something like this. So you can go back in time and then you can place yourself in time, in that time. And yeah, I read it completely, and I love to read it. I love about the fears I had before.
To see the progress, right?
Yeah.
And you can remember it because you connected with your emotion.
Yeah.
When we connect with an emotion, we can remember everything because it is anchored.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My friend, you know that the universe is always on our side, right?
Yes, we know that.
You know that. So this week, I would say that the key phrase is healing together, thriving together. Why? Because this week we're going to have a powerful alignment between the Sun and Chiron. Chiron, I cannot tell you the whole story, but I love Chiron, is the healer of the zodiac. Yeah, it represents a deep pain in our life. And he teaches us to embrace that pain and transform it into our best talent. That's the learning, the teaching of Chiron. So this week, we're going to have a trine between the Sun and Chiron. That means that we're invited to embrace those wounds that each of us have. And when we embrace it, as Jonas was saying, we can heal, we can transform that, and then we can have healthier relationships. Because what happens is, if we don't heal those wounds that we bring from childhood, for example, when we start a relationship, what we do is just, okay, take this package, you know? One of my astro teachers always says this, that when we start a relationship, we just give the wounded child to the person and we expect the other to make us happy, to support us, to give us everything we need. And in fact, that's not the purpose, you know? If we take care of our wounds, we heal them, we transform them, then we can go out to the world and use it as a talent. So that's this week, maybe we're going to have this awareness, yeah, because the sun is consciousness, is going to illuminate Chiron. So maybe some wounds are going to appear for us to embrace them, yeah, and from there heal it and go to the world and share it as a talent.
Wow. So we definitely need to keep an eye on Chiron, Vicky.
Yes. Well, I've been working on him for many years by now, my friend.
So you need to teach us to give us couple of tips about how to do that. We are almost close to the end of our podcast, and we have a call to action for ours versus visionaries at the end of our podcast. Guys, why don't you just schedule a 30 minutes uninterrupted dialogue with someone on the opposite gender within the next 7 days? Right?
I like it.
And I would say be focused on creating that kind of safe and open space for mutual sharing. You, Jonas, you talked about that. And I think exercising in creating that safe space, because that safe space is not just happening like you and me talking 15 minutes over the phone, right? You really need to put your vulnerable you, your authentic you in that space. You need to come and to give an anticipated trust and to be honest to yourself, right? So creating that space requires a bit of openness and willingness to do it, right?
Wow.
and even maybe just listen.
Exactly.
Because you know that there is a tendency to try to look for solutions sometimes. And maybe it's just listening what the other person is feeling and wants to share. Just be there, present.
Yeah, I will give like a little tip for this call to action for this week. I will say maybe just to give to have an object, okay, to clear the space, to clean the space, like basically no noise, no phones around, no electronic things. And then maybe it can be, I don't know, something, an object you can have in you, all right, within you, like, I don't know, like a pen. Could be just like a pen. We have a pen around the house, so, or anywhere. Just have a pen, and it's my time to speak. And then when I leave that pen in the table, now is your turn to speak. So it's like an object, gives the time and honor the timing. Because sometimes at the beginning, as you say, Vicky, we just hit each other.
We just want to talk.
Yeah, with solutions sometimes, or or tips, or we want to finish the sentences of the other people. And when we don't leave the others to finish the sentences, we don't know the end of that sentence.
We are not with this floating attention.
Yeah, so I just want to give that tip. Could be nice for this call to action.
Beautiful.
This week. Yeah.
I love it. I will start doing that.
So thank you again.
Thank you.
To our Versus Visionaries. We are going to see you next Saturday, same time. And by then, Vicky, how we are saying?
Yes, harmonize your contrasts.
Ciao, guys.
Bye-bye. See you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jonas.
Hello, Vicky, and good morning, our Versus Visionaries. Happy Saturday.
My friend. Happy Saturday. How are you?
Excellent.
Me too. But today I'm like a little bit, I don't know, thoughtful and emotional about the topic we are dealing with. So I would like to start with a question, not only for you, but for our Versus Visionaries. Have you ever felt like you don't belong to this world? Like your soul is screaming for something more, but everything around you seems like to suppress it?
Actually, I'm having sometimes, in a sort of funny way, the question, depending on some situations, when things maybe they don't go the way how I envision going, asking myself what world I am in, what world I am in. So, but this is a sort of my funny way of sarcastic way of dealing, like what world I am on, right? But I believe that your question comes from a different angle. I believe, right?
From a deeper angle.
Can you elaborate on that angle?
Well, today we are dealing with resilience versus giving up. And it's, for me, it's like a very emotional topic because I would say that it's my whole life.
Okay.
If I can sum up, it's my whole life, like in this versus between giving up and resilience. And it's because of this sensation I was asking about. Since childhood, I've been feeling like an alien in this planet. I don't know if some Versus Visionaries are going to feel the same, but I was like surrounded by people who couldn't see what I was like seeing or feel what I was feeling. It was like my sensitivity to energy and to the emotions of others was so expanded, so intense that sometimes I didn't know how to deal with that. I even though I remember like crying for weeks, for example, when a friend was having a bad time, or I saw my parents doing so many sacrifices. Well, even though I remember those things, I also remember like repeating to myself, you need to be strong. You need to be strong and you need to help others because the others are like suffering. What happened to me is like since a child, I was like able to feel the pain of this world. Like I was like watching people suffering, animals suffering. Every time I saw a dog on the street, I was suffering, and everything around me was like too intense for me to process it. And I remember like many times, many nights crying and just praying. I used to pray a lot, saying that, please, I don't want to feel this pain on my chest. And I started like developing a connection with this invisible world that I felt embraced. And every time I was like asking for help not to feel this pain, I was like hurt, for me as a child was like magic, you know, like I even felt like hug for this energy. So I started like developing this connection with the invisible world, let's say with the universe. I call it the universe or God, or it has many names, right? So I started like developing this connection, and the more I was connected to the other side, while I was growing, I realized that I was like disconnecting myself from this world. And at some point I started like feeling I don't like consumerism, materialism, and I started at some point even rejecting this world. So something strange happened to me that it was very painful, and not many people know about this. That's why I get emotional, because maybe if my mom sees this video, she's going to find out. Because I didn't share it with many people, but at some point I started even having like suicidal thoughts, you know, like
So Vicky,
everything around me is like painful, you know.
So Vicky, first, I think you are extremely brave sharing all these thoughts and sharing this intense emotional living, having all this empathy and sensitivity, and feeling everything else what everyone else was like feeling. I think this is extremely intense and comes with a lot of weight for the mind and for the body. I'm going to be asking you a question.
Okay.
And the question is, in all that struggle, with all the emotional pain, how you overcome the moment of giving up? And what was that moment of giving up where you were like close to, you know, to being, you know, break into pieces, but actually you didn't?
Mm-hmm.
I know it's very personal, and it could be that it might be very sensitive that you are sharing this, and I ask your permission to do that. But I think giving in or giving up, these are like, you know, two different things. But giving up almost, but not getting there and pulling you up from that situation, I think that's the most beautiful transformation which I do see in you.
Yeah. Well, to tell you the truth, I developed this strength that I was telling you, repeating myself, I need to be strong, because I could see things and I could feel things that many people couldn't stand. So I developed this strength inside of me. But apart from that, I started like noticing that each time I was about to give up, something happened. You know, I received a call from a friend, someone knocked at my door, even a pigeon entered my kitchen once when I was like, I don't want to wake up tomorrow, right? But there was all those actions made me realize that there is like a powerful force that drives me, you know. I want to call it universe, because I need like to fly higher like an eagle, to see this world from another perspective, and believe in other things, to remain like strong and continue and build this resilience. But there was one night in particular. In fact, it's a story. Yes, it's a story. It is divided in two nights, because the first night I didn't know anything about it. But in this first night, I was at home, I was like cooking, I was listening to music, and I was getting ready to watch a movie. And suddenly, a friend's name started like come into my mind, and the feeling was so strong that I need to stop everything and just text her to see how she was. And she answered almost immediately, saying that she was feeling bad, that she was like, she didn't know how to get better, that she was tired. So at that time, I just started talking to her, saying, you have a lot of things to be grateful for. You can practice forgiveness. You can focus on yourself. And I even shared with her some meditations I was practicing. And one meditation that is very powerful, that maybe that was like the one that gave me this strength, that is called Ho'oponopono. That is a beautiful technique. And I shared these meditations with her. And I asked her to text me back on the following day to see how she was. And I just continue cooking, and listening to my music. And then I watched the movie. After that night, I went away because I moved. At that time, I was like moving from city to city. But 1 year later, I came back to that city and I paid her a visit, and we went to have dinner. And during dinner, I saw that she was like getting emotional. And she started talking to me in a foreign language, in another language, because her 10-year-old child was there and she didn't want the child to understand what we were talking.
Okay.
And she started saying like she wanted to thank me for that night. And she said, because of you, my child still has a mom. And she confessed that when I text her, she was about to jump through the window. Because she was so sad and she didn't know how to deal with life anymore, that she was just going to give up. And for me, it was a shock, because that night, Kira, for me, was just a simple other night that I was cooking, and suddenly I felt the feeling of texting, but then I continued with my life. And for her was the whole difference. So that night, with that experience, I learned two things. The first one, that there are many people that feel the same as me, and the second one was that my intuition and my connection with this universe was so strong that I was able even to save a life. So I decided I committed to myself to start like reinforcing this connection, working on it and focusing on this, because I was able to transform my despair into a mission, a commitment to leave a legacy and in this world, providing that by changing our perception and finding our purpose, we can find joy and meaning in our lives. Because thanks to her, I realized that I could in fact help people to deal with what I was dealing, because I had the strength to not to give up. And that's how I ignited resilience in my life, seeing that through this intuition, this connection and this strength, I was able to help others. And that I was not alone, mainly, with these thoughts and these feelings.
I would say, so first of all, thank you so much, Vicky, for sharing. This is a very intense, personal, and sensible story. Listening to you, I was thinking to one action which I think everyone could take. It's about when you feel like you want to pick up the phone and call someone, just do it. Because it might be the moment when someone needs your kind words, your support. They are in the moment of trying to find some answers, and you can help doing so. And I also think, Vicky, that as we are going through life, you know how it is. Busy people, we are sometimes saying, oh, I'm not going to call my mom. Let me call her tonight. Or I'm not going to call my best friend. She might be busy. Let me call her tomorrow. I think all these kind of actions coming into our mind, let's just do it in that very moment. Let's not postpone the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take it, call it, and give that person the love, the support, the kind words
Mm-hmm.
to engage to help them engage into a beautiful day, right?
Yeah.
The story with your friend and literally almost taking her out from a moment of despair, that's extremely emotional and sensitive. And I'm so happy that you picked up the phone, by the way. And I'm so happy that she was able to answer on the other side. And you know, I don't know who is your friend, but if she's listening to us to this podcast, I totally give her a big hug from my side. So if I'm to take away one thing from your story is believe in the universe, that the universe, based on what your vibration, what you are planting as seeds there, is going to come back to you. Don't waste any second and do the things in the moment when you feel like doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Tap the phone and call your friend, call your wife, say I love you to someone, say I'm sorry, say thank you, just say a kind words, because this kind of continuous resilient actions of keeping up things in the moment might be the most relevant things of the day.
Or even ask for help if you're on the other side.
True.
You know, if you're suffering, if you're feeling this that I have felt many times in my life, or my friend was feeling, just ask for help. Because sometimes, as you said, we are in this world so noisy, so many things happening, or always rushing, that many people cannot have this sensitivity to listen, you know, to listen to these signals. So if you're listening to me and you are in this situation, and sometimes you feel like that, just ask for help, you know.
True.
Because the other ones cannot like imagine maybe that we are going through this, you know. Anyone in my family knew this, and I think I just talked to my sister about it, so they cannot know if I don't say I need help, or I'm feeling this, you know. But I was like, my mindset was I need to be strong, so I was not accustomed to ask for help. You're right. So
asking for help, it's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Some people, they really need to learn how to ask for help, because by definition, you feel that you are strong enough to be able to carry on everything in your life.
Mm.
Asking for help was a lesson which I learned the tough way. And I think being vulnerable enough to understand that you need help and being able to pick up the phone and ask for it, this is the most beautiful way to show how much you love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Exactly.
Loving myself, and you know, anyone with a sense of self-love, as long as you aim to progress, to solve the problems, to solve for the needs which you have, therefore you're just gonna let the ego on the side, the vanity on the side, and you're gonna ask for the help which you need, because that is a sign of self-love.
Exactly. Self-love at the end is take care of you. And if I see that I cannot take care of myself because I'm depressed, I'm sad, I'm confused, then asking for help is also taking care of myself.
True. And this is about not giving up, right?
Exactly.
So we talked about the importance. There are a couple of powerful words which I believe that we should say more, but not because we want and we impose on ourselves to say it more, but because we feel that they are the right powerful words to plant in a discussion with anyone, with someone who is close to us, with people whom we meet on the street, in a supermarket. I love the way how we finish our communication, email or WhatsApp, sometimes, saying I love you, friend, or love and light.
Love and light.
Yes, love and light.
Big hug.
Yeah, big hugs. I think all these little words, they have such an incredible impact on someone's mood, energy, and the way how their go is going to be. Same as saying I'm sorry, same as saying thank you. And I think meditation also helps to anchor ourselves in the present moment and enable us to become resilient and not giving up.
Yeah, and to focus on our breathing.
Yes.
And in fact, those powerful words you said, you missed one, that is, please forgive me. And then you have the 4 phrases of the Ho'oponopono, which is a meditation I was like repeating and repeating so many years. And it's a meditation I share with her and with many others friends. That is so powerful, that I could even see miracles after repeating those phrases. So I would encourage our Versus Visionaries to go and look. You have many Ho'oponopono meditations here on YouTube, so you can look for the one you like and start practicing, because it's the meditation for forgiveness, and unconditional love.
Yeah.
And as you said, those phrases are very powerful and can change your mood completely.
So Vicky, can we switch the mood to understand how much resilience we are going to receive from the universe?
All what we need, because this week we start the Virgo season. And much resilience at Virgo, I don't know. Virgo talks about service, in service to others, we discover the strength within ourselves. Virgo has come to this world to help other people. It has the capacity to see what works, what doesn't work, and get it improved. So what Virgo invites us is to start serving others, but of course, first the self-love first. It's when you go on a plane, right? You have the instructions. First you put your mask, and then you put the mask on others. Well, this is what Virgo needs to reinforce, because sometimes we can go to the other polarity and forget about ourselves and try to serve too much, and we forget our health, and so we have to balance our health, physical health, not only physical, but also emotional, spiritual, and mental, of course, which is the other polarity pieces. So this week, the sun is going to enter into Virgo and it's going to highlight this energy. So we can practice resilience through service. For example, daily acts of kindness, as you said, kind words to people, maybe even people you don't know, like I'm going on the street, good morning, or just a smile, just a smile can change the whole day of a person, or volunteer even your time, do something for your community. That gives you this feeling of I'm useful. And that is what Virgo wants to feel, that we are useful in this world, because we all have Virgo in some area of our life. That means that we all have this service call to improve this world.
Amazing. So, be kind is going to be the message from the universe. So therefore, I think our call to action to our versus visionaries, it's going to be very simple for this week, Vicky.
Mm-hmm.
What we are going to ask you, take a moment and be kind to someone close to you, or even to someone who you don't know. Say thank you, forgive me, give a smile, give some love. Pick up the phone and call a friend with whom you didn't talk in the last weeks. Call your parents, call your brothers, sisters. Do that kind of act of kindness, which is going to bring a smile to the other person answering the phone, or to the other person who is going to be the receiver of your beautiful words.
Yes, like the chain of favors, right?
Exactly. And let's see what comes back, because in my experience, every time I'm doing a very genuine act of kindness to someone, that in a way, in one way or another, comes back to me in beautiful gestures or forms, right? So please tell us, share with us, what is that kind of action, that act of kindness, and even generosity through words which you perform. Tell us how you felt about it, and how the other person felt about the being at the receiving side. Share with us on YouTube, like us, dislike us, subscribe. And with that, Vicky, again, thank you, my friend, for your personal story. And we are going to see each other next Saturday.
Yes, and meanwhile, keep harmonizing.
Happy Saturday versus visionaries. Happy Saturday, Vicky. How are you doing?
Welcome back. I'm fine. I'm perfect.
Today is the day when we got up with a lot of energy. I see the energy which you have this morning. My energy.
Yes.
But not all the mornings are like this, right?
Oh, not at all.
Exactly.
Not at all.
So there are mornings where, to tell you the truth, I don't have any energy to get out of bed.
Yeah, me neither. I put the alarm to ring like 1 hour later, because I don't want to get up.
And I do that, but I'm also letting the alarm, ring another 2 or 3 times. And maybe 1 hour later, hardly I'm getting out of bed.
Oh.
I must confess that this kind of behavior was happening quite a lot in my past. So when I'm thinking about the topic of today, I would like to ask our versus visionaries to imagine waking up every morning feeling like you are just going through those kind of emotions which look like a cycle, right? You are trapped in the same pattern of every day. Nothing extraordinary happens. And what your mood is going to be without any spark coming into your life. And the question is, should we wait for that spark, or that spark comes from within us? Because ultimately, if you see, and when I saw my pattern of like getting lazy morning after morning, being very hard for myself to step out of bed, like literally crawling through my house with a cup of coffee, I didn't like myself with that kind of low energy. So what I decided to change that with habits which are bringing me good energy, are bringing me the joy. So the question is how we are getting from this apathic kind of behavior
or state
or state to an inspired behavior, and what stories we have in our toolbox in order to make an example and give some tools to our versus visionaries.
Yeah, you know what's dangerous with apathy? That many times you don't even realize that you are becoming apathetic.
That's true.
And that's a problem. And that's a problem, that it involves you, or like a cloud involves you, and you cannot even see it. And it happened to me.
I think it becomes that kind of embedded behavior which you recognize as being the norm, not being the disruptor. Going through the same circle of activities. I get out of bed, I brush my teeth, I drink my coffee, I have or I don't have breakfast, I go to the car, I jump in the car, I go to the office, or I work remotely, or I go with the
everything
kids.
in automatic.
Everything is at such detail of going in the same cadence, same pattern every day.
And automatically.
And automatically that you take this pattern as being the norm, and whatever comes from the outside, you are finding the excuses to eliminate because it's not part of the norm which you created. But what you don't realize that norm, it's not the most healthiest, fulfilling kind of behavior which you should accept into your life.
Yes.
So let's crack this topic with a very good story, Vicky.
Okay, I have one. I was recently moved to another city. Yeah, it happened many times ago and many years ago. I have moved from one city to another one, so I didn't know anyone, you know. And at that time, I rented an apartment just for myself. And I was there working, I was like focusing on myself, I was like having the kind of life that I wanted. And that's why I tell you that apathy sometimes is so dangerous, because you don't realize it. I was having like the life I had dreamed. I was living in front of the sea, having an apartment for myself. I was working at home, so
so comfortable.
So peaceful, comfortable. After work, I used to meditate, and I started like having like 4 to 5 hours meditation. And I was doing this for a couple of months. And I was not even realizing that sometimes for a whole week, I was not going out from home, just to buy food and go back. Until one day, there's always one day, right?
Always.
One day, after many months of doing this, my computer broke. So I called a technician. He came to see the computer. And while he was like looking for my computer, trying to fix it, we were like chatting, you know. But he didn't even know me. And before he left, I remember that he looked at me and he said, you know, hey, you look sad. You should, you seem unwell. You should go out a little bit more. And I was like shocked, you know, what do you mean? It's like, I'm having the life I want. What do you mean by sad? And he said, I don't know, I see you a little bit apathetic. Maybe you shouldn't stay so much time at home, and you should go out a little bit more, you know? And then he left. But that phrase like struck me, you know? And I started looking around, and I saw that my whole life was narrowed just to work and meditate. And just I was doing
your whole life was
myself.
Exactly.
But to myself, in a way, I was like working tirelessly and then meditating tirelessly the whole day, the whole week for months. And I realized that, I'm apathetic because I didn't want even to go out. Sometimes I went to the supermarket, but every time I went to the supermarket, I was like buying more stuff not to go out so many times, you know? So I realized that this guy was right. And I started looking, okay, what do I do? Because at that time I didn't know many people. I just knew some acquaintances. So I started like drawing a plan, okay, I'm going to get more in touch with these acquaintances to see if we can be friends. And I started looking for some groups at that time on Facebook. And suddenly I found a Facebook group that was like giving and receiving, Okay. You were like offering something and you were able to receive something. And I said,
what was it like? It was like services?
Services, yes. Okay. For example, I offer my Reiki sessions. And in return, I receive other therapies. So I started exchanging my services and meeting other people. And I started like igniting that inspiration, like, hey, more than just staying meditating 4 to 5 hours, I can help people, I can start like giving Reiki, and through this giving, I can also practice spirituality because I was too much focused on spirituality. So after like having this contact with this community and sharing, I realized that stepping out of solitude and into a community, I found inspiration and discovered that, much like in that movie Into the Wild, I don't know if you see it.
Yes, yeah.
I found out that love and life itself is only real when it is shared. And every time I thought about this movie, I have goosebumps, and because I saw this movie right on Brazil when I was alone, and I was crying a river. So it struck me how I fell into this apathy without even noticing. And discovering a community and sharing my services and receiving others gave me this inspiration to start like giving and receiving more. And from that, I started like having more friends, going to parties, and keeping like giving my services for free and exchange, in fact. So for me, this was like a pivotal day when the technician came to my house and told me this, because I was not able to see it alone.
To tell you the truth, I was about to make a joke saying that, are you sure that the guy was not trying to invite you over a coffee?
No, because after that he disappeared. I didn't see him again. So no.
But on a serious note,
but he made me a great favor. So
yeah, on a serious,
I'm really grateful.
On a serious note, I resonate with people, total strangers, coming from outside and not knowing you at all. They are giving you those kind of 2 cents, becoming a wake-up call.
Yes.
And I believe that a lot of gratitude should go to these individuals, because with all their like good intentions and genuine kind of observations, actually they are really triggering something in ourselves.
They are very powerful.
They are very powerful. You know that also I lived in many countries, and listening to your story, I realized that my first 2 or 3 moves, they've been very tough, in a sense that same like you, I try to build my boundaries, my little box where I was going to the office, I was coming home, I was like doing some stuff for myself, and after that, one day led to another, and here is the month, and here are like a couple of months with the same kind of practice every day. What I learned from the first 2 or 3 moves, I learned that there are 3 things important when you are doing a courageous move to another country. 3.
Let's see. Take down notes versus visionaries.
1, I think it's your mindset. Moving to a country, even moving from one apartment to the other, or to from one city to the other, that's a big change. And your mindset needs to be ready for it. In a sense that you have to embrace change, you really need to connect with the diversity. Connect with the diversity, and also learn and acknowledge the place history. I was never a fan of history when I was a child, but let me tell you that connecting with the culture and with people living in that country is extremely important in shaping your mindset and the way how you're gonna collaborate and connect with them further on. So mindset regarding change. After that, I think, you really need to have the motivation to embrace that place.
Yeah, because if you don't have it, you're not going to belong.
Exactly. Having the motivation, it means that you are curious about everything around. You are curious about how people, food, people, music, places to go, nearby restaurants, nearby coffee shops, what's going on in the city, what exhibitions, is there an opera, what's going on, right? That motivation needs to be high up.
Yes.
And I think, so I would say the third one, it's about your support model. I'm calling the toolbox, the methods, right? Always when I'm moving to a new city or a new country, you're gonna have fun here. I'm doing a couple of things. I really want to live downtown because it's important to have like people, crowds, movements around me. I need to have a grocery, a pharmacy, and a bus/train/metro station nearby, right? Nearby. But after that, the fourth is like a chair, my support model. The fourth one, I'm looking and I'm seeing what are those kind of 4, 5, 6 people with whom I can connect in the city in order to connect with other people. Those kind of connection which leads to another connection. And I think this is what happened to you, right? Community and being around people, it's extremely important, especially when you are in a new country, new language, a different culture, everything is different. And this support model through people, it's so fundamental for you to enjoy life. It's inspirational as much as it's taking you out from the apathy.
Yes, exactly. Because you start like experiencing life with passion, right? New things, new culture, new language, new food, new activities. And that is what is going to bring you this energy to get up with another mood.
Absolutely. And the other thing is that when you think about being in a new place, I experienced that, and I always had the fears, but I also have that kind of curiosity.
Emotion. That adrenaline, right?
Am I going to find my favorite Italian food? Where should I go there? Am I going to find, the usual breakfast food which I'm like having? We are tempted to bring with us what I have at breakfast. I love what I have at breakfast, like for example my coffee, right? And I think we are tempted to create the same space and the same comfort which we carry on with us in any of the places, but to expand out, because if you are just in your comfort, you're gonna get the apathy.
Yeah, what happens to me?
But when you expand and you create those connections, you connect with the culture, you can connect with the people, you connect with the places. Those are going to inspire you, and you're gonna step out from that apathy.
Exactly.
So, Vicky, are we going to be inspired, or is going to be a week same as the previous one when it comes to...
No, not at all. We are going to be very inspired because Venus is highlighted this week. No, and Venus is the one that brings us that joy, brings us that experience. Venus one, for you to understand, Venus is the one that rules Taurus and Libra. Taurus talks about the senses, So Venus wants to experience the life and experience the senses, eat delicious food, sleep in a beautiful, comfortable bed, and blah, blah, blah. While Libra wants to experience beauty and have connection with others. And this week, Venus is going to be on the spot because she's going to connect with Uranus, with Pluto, with Neptune, and is going to enter Libra, where she's like powerful because it's in her home, right? So we can take advantage of this energy and connect with our inner Venus. Start relating to others in this harmonious mood, and also connecting with our senses. What I like doing, what I like eating, what I like, I don't know, a massage. I love a massage. Maybe I can go to a spa. Yeah. But the main point here is connection and transform. Yes, the key phrase would be like embrace the unseen forces of transformation and connection, because we have Uranus and Pluto that are also going to come to have a chat with Venus and invite them, and they invite her to experience new things and transform those things that maybe keep her on this apathy, and start experiencing life in a different way, in innovating the experiences. And of course, connecting. As we already saw, connection with a community which is aligned with our values, with our purpose, with our interests, can bring us a lot of joy, a lot of purpose, a lot of inspiration to have a different life.
I think community, it's the most important element when it comes to growth, as important as consistency or having a coach or a mentor. Because growth comes from our desire to learn more. But I think in the moment when you are surrounded by mindset-alike people, that power is being amplified.
Yes, completely.
And for this episode, the call to action will be connect. Bring into your life a new connection and tell us, how did you feel having one more support in your life, and how you are connecting through that person with others, creating more connections.
And how you can get inspired by that person, that connection? What can you bring to your life about what that person is or is doing?
Excellent. So with this said, connect, tell us how that connection went, and by the next Saturday, like us, dislike us, subscribe, share your stories, and
keep harmonizing your contrasts.
Excellent. Ciao, Vicky.
Ciao, my friend. See
Bye.
you next Saturday.
See you.
Good morning. Happy Saturday, my friend. How are you, Kira?
Happy Saturday, my friend. I'm doing amazing. How are you doing?
I'm great. Just because I'm here with you. You know that.
This is a bliss, like every Saturday morning, to start my mornings with you and our Versus Visionaries. And let's get going.
Let's do it.
This topic is at the very core of success of innovation. It's about resources versus resourceful, right?
I love it.
We are going to give also some definitions about it, but let's start with a question, right? And the question is, have you ever felt stuck because you don't have the perfect tools or enough money? I felt stuck many times in my life.
Don't tell me. You're talking about the story of my life.
Yes, and I think in life we've been in many times in these situations when we had to improvise. So today I'm going to share a personal story that might just change the perspective and show you how tapping into creativity or bridging the gap when traditional resources fell short can become a way of really becoming resourceful, right? So my story, it's a very simple story. It's about a dilemma which I had when I was a teenage.
Oh, yes. We have many dilemmas at that age, right?
Yes, but I was in high school, and when I was in high school, I felt invisible. My family didn't have the means to buy me trendy outfits, and I often wore clothes that made me blend into the background, right? And as the prom, it's that celebration at the end of high school was approaching, right? I found myself with nothing to wear just 2 days before the event. I was devastated.
2 days before. Oh my God.
I was devastated, and I was like really thinking that I'm gonna skip the prom altogether. But then it hit me, because this event marked the end of an important chapter in my life.
Of course.
You're finishing there. Exactly. My friends will be there. I didn't want to miss out creating those memories, right? And
you were not going to be on the pictures, on the photos.
I'll not be on the albums. I'll not be on the photos. I'll miss those kind of memorable moments with having fun. With all
just because of a cloth.
Exactly. So what I did, I went to my mom's wardrobe. And with the help of my aunt, I transformed a long navy blue long skirt into a stunning strapless dress.
Wow.
I added, and I remember even now how from cardboard I did the kind of blue azure ribbon belt to really support, to really mark my waist.
Your waist.
My waist. And we crafted also an undergarment with 10 meters of veil in order to bring the volume and to have a volume.
Wow. Do you have a picture? I would like to see that picture.
I think somewhere in my family album I still have a picture of that. But when I was thinking about that moment, and coming to this podcast talking about resourcefulness, right? I realized that our creativity and knowing exactly our strengths and the problems to solve for bring us in this situation that we can make miracles out of almost nothing. And this is resourcefulness, right? And you know, I did my dress, like my aunt was like, she was sewing like, you know, endlessly overnight. I borrowed a necklace for my best friend. And what that resourcefulness created for me, it created an amazing memory, right? Because that outfit was an amazing one, but it was just because it was unique to me and I knew exactly the story of the outfit, right?
The story behind it.
The story behind. And I didn't pour money into it. I just channeled the creativity and I become resourceful with the resources at hand, right?
With everything you had at that moment, you were able to reuse it.
Exactly, exactly. So I think I'm so grateful that I had that lesson very early in my youth, because I learned what are the differences between being resourcefulness and what is the meaning of the resources, right? Because resources are the assets available to us, to you, to me. It's about, you know, the money, the people, the information. These are resources, right? But when it comes to being resourcefulness, this is an ability, right? So
it's like when you are resourceful, you become a resource itself.
In itself, exactly. Because resources are just assets, where resourcefulness is our ability to become a resource.
Exactly.
Right? And it's our ability to overcome a difficulty in a specific moment, involving our creativity and problem solving, right? So
beautiful.
This is like a very fun example, because there are so many other examples in life, right?
Yes. But this is very graphic, right? You can really imagine it, visualize it.
Yeah. But for our versus visionaries, you know, there are so many other use cases. Let's say, if you watch the Apollo 13 movie, right? You see how the crew become extremely resourceful to overcome the minimal resource, to overcome the situation with minimal resources, right? You know, you have the example of Oprah's career starting being very resourceful, right? You have, you know, you have the Steve Jobs, you know, starting his big idea, big business in a garage, right? All these are examples of being resourcefulness. What do you think, Vicky? So how shall we look into some tools to give our visionaries in order to enable their ability to being resourcefulness?
Well, now that I was listening to your story, of course, it came to my mind the times I was also becoming a resourceful, you know. And one thing that I have is, anytime I look for something and I cannot find it, I find a way to create it, you know. And this is the case, for example, with the community. Some years ago, I was not able to find a community in which I could share my knowledge, I could share my feelings, what I was learning, and I was doing it like in a wrong way, you know, in a bad way, like sharing to people that maybe they didn't want to listen to me.
Yeah.
So at what point I said, okay, I can't find this community, so I'm going to create one, you know. So I created my community in which I can talk, I can express, I can share everything I learn, and the people that are there is because they want to be there, you know? So we can look for what we are needing at this time and what are the gaps we have to achieve what we need.
Yeah.
So according to the gap and what we need, then we can find a way to create it by ourselves. So I think that the first thing we should do is like a list of the resources we have, the needs we have, and what we lack. No? What is that gap? And then try to make the connection. Okay, what I need to get this that I need, that I want to have.
Yeah, it's like you challenge your creativity and problem solving to bridge that gap or to eliminate that gap with a solution based on what you have at hand.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, what I have at hand was my voice, you know, so
exactly.
Okay.
What I have at hand, it was my mom's skirt. So
exactly. So what I can do with this skirt, what I can do with my voice, what are the resources I have? Okay, I have a phone, I have an application, so I can open a community in that application, and later on I continue like adding things like, for example, the microphone. But at the beginning it was just with my phone. I was like recording. My first audios are like a mess, you know, you can listen to a lot of noise, my voice is not clear, but because I was using just my phone. And later on I was able to buy a microphone and to buy a better computer, because my computer was 11 years old. So what we have in that moment, make an inventory of what we have, and then what we want to achieve, and see what we can do with this.
I would add, I like what you are saying, and what I will add, that this sounds very close to the SWOT analysis, which we also discussed in one of our conversations. Because what you are saying, let's assess, let's put on paper what are the things which I have, like my strengths, my internal qualities, what I can leverage, right?
Exactly.
After that, let's also put on paper the limitations which I have to overcome. This could be the weaknesses, right? But look also from the perspective of the opportunities, right? What are things I can bring in from what I have, you know, or external factors that I can leverage, right?
Exactly.
In order to bridge the gap, and what might be the threats or the risk to mitigate, right? You know, in your example, the threat might be, oh my God, like my microphone, which is an external thing, is not working. How can I mitigate that one? How can I get a voice to my voice, right?
Yeah, amazing. Because, for example, for you, your creativity was your strength, right? And your willingness to act. But maybe someone in front of that situation can get paralyzed, you know, the different reactions towards stress. So maybe for someone else, the weakness can be to act and to ask for help and to go and look for the wardrobe, to see what they found, right?
Yeah.
So it's a great tool, I think, to organize, as I said, like the list of, okay, what I have, what I need, where I want to go, and see what's the gap.
Challenges, right?
Exactly. What's the gap? Love it.
Yeah, so resourcefulness is a skill, I would say, that transcends the availability of resources. When you become the resource with your mind, creativity, and
your abilities.
And abilities, I think that's where the magic is happening, right? And it's a mindset of tackling problems with determination and turning constraints into opportunities.
Right? Beautiful.
Yeah, so whether you are the astronaut, fixing a space shuttle, or the teenage crafting a prom dress, resourcefulness empowers you to achieve your goals. And I think
Exactly.
it's creating also lasting memories, because I will never forget that experience with my prom dilemma, but I will also never forget the beautiful memories I created with my classmates, the fun we had, and that kind of 5 a.m. in the morning returning home.
And I think it goes deeper, Kira, because when you are able to become resourceful, that gives you like more self-confidence, because you can see that, hey, I can get this through. I could do it in another way. I was able to tackle this difficulty, right? So you became like more self-confident on your
Absolutely.
abilities.
And also you have the courage. If you are solving a situation through being resourceful one time, you have the confidence, but also the courage, and you think that you're going to have solutions for everything coming your way.
Exactly. That that one experience is like sparkles the solution for many others that can come.
Exactly, because you see, you take the power in your hands, and you say, you know what, I'm gonna find a solution for this.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna miss out on that moment, sharing with a friend, sharing with your family. I'm just gonna do it.
I'm the creator of my reality.
True. So
Amazing.
what the universe is having for
the universe is always on our side, my friend. Well, this week the protagonist of the week is Uranus. I'm a very Uranus person, so it's like my signature. And Uranus talks about radical change, think out of the box, do things differently,
be resourceful.
Be resourceful instead of waiting for resources to come to your door knocking. So this week, Uranus is going to start retrograding. Yes, he's going to stop his motion and he's going to go like slower for months. So this is a great opportunity to start like reviewing and making this inventory about what are the resources I have, where I want to go, what I want to achieve, and what's the gap, to start like taking this time to harness inner innovation, but embracing the unexpected.
Interesting.
Yeah, because when we talk about Uranus, we never know what can happen. It brings surprises, it brings revelations. It talks about also it gives us like a clue about the future. So it's a futurist energy. So when it's active, we can receive a lot of insights, a lot of brilliant ideas, and think about intelligent solutions. And this time, Uranus is going to ask us to stop and review our inventory, review our actions. It's like we are gifted with the unique period of introspection and reevaluation during this month. And it is starting this week. So we can take advantage of all this energy and start like looking surround on our environment and see these resources we have and start like doing a resource reassignment, a mindset shift, a problem solving journaling maybe, and see what are the things I have and what are my talents and how I can use them in a more innovative way.
Or even more efficient, because sometimes when you look into a problem which you want to solve and you start becoming resourceful, you might even find more efficient and effective ways to get to the outcome, because you can become very creative, find some shortcuts, cut corners, and things might happen faster or simpler, right?
Exactly. And flow. The idea is to flow, don't get stuck.
Yeah.
Don't get like, oh, I don't have this, so I can't do anything.
Oh, I don't have money. I don't have.
Yes, don't get stuck. Just like waiting for the perfect moment, because it's not going to arrive and you're going to lose time. So be creative, take risk, change things, and do things differently.
I was just listening to you and listening to the message coming from the universe. And I think that the call to action to our Versus visionaries will be along these lines, right? So before our next episode, why don't you try to identify one challenge in your life, Versus visionaries, and apply the concepts of resourcefulness we discussed today? Take that SWOT analysis and apply it on a difficult situation. Some of the thinking and structuring about, what you have at hand, how you can fill that gap, which we discussed, and share your creative solution with us on social media. So I think that we can't wait to see what comes in our community for being resourceful, and what kind of solutions you guys find with the resources on hand, and the first and most important resource being you.
Exactly. Beautiful.
So by next Saturday, Vicky.
Amazing. My friend.
A lot of love, and let's
Light.
keep maximizing our contrasts.
See you.